everybody's on now, so when you come up to the front, make sure you speak into the mics, okay? And thanks for coming, everybody. It's not a bad night out there. I hope my voice lasts. This is my third meeting today, so I've been speaking way too much. So if it doesn't hold up, somebody else have to talk. Anyways, we've already into open, so minutes of the previous meeting. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Anderson, that the minutes of the January 6, 2015 council meeting be approved. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Additional items is to closed. Is other business? Anybody got additional items? Mary Lou? Anybody else? Well, we'll, you know, that's always open for if you think of something. Next one. Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner and second by Councillor Caldwell that the Town of Minto convenes into Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Carried. Okay. And we have two delegations tonight, which is it's great. And I know this one. I've sort of heard this one the other day, but I think they're going to change it up for me. It was nice that they were able to present this at the Palmerston Agriculture Society's annual meeting, so I'm looking forward to hearing it again. So Belinda, do you want to bring the troops up? We have a change. We have a change. I was just going to say roster change here because I was looking at this.
Alrighty. So Caitlin couldn't come tonight, so I'm going to be Caitlin.
Okay.
Caitlin Hall from the Hairston Farmers Market. Yep. And Luke and Mike are here, and they're going to talk about the Palmerston Market, and Crystal's the cheerleader in the back there.
I see Crystal's back there. She's relaxing.
So great team effort over in Palmerston for their market, as always. So yeah, so we every year just give a little update on the year that has passed at the markets, and we get ready. We do have some plans in place for 2015, and both committees will be meeting in March, April to plan what's coming up for this coming year. But quickly, just I'll do Hairston first.
Okay.
Most of you have been to the Hairston Farmers Market, and you know it's at the Hairston train station. This is, I think, we're going into our third summer at this location, and it's working out really well. The vendors are all really liking this setting with the trees and the grass. You will notice this picture is not from last year. We did change up the layout and had all the vendors on one side of the driveway, and that worked out really nicely. It looked fuller and it was a nicer path and worked out really well for parking on the one side. And now the driveway has been freshly paved, and that'll be really nice as well.
And the washrooms are done?
And yeah, and we have the washroom facilities there, and we have the kitchen facilities there, so it's a really great space, and like I said, the vendors are enjoying being there. These are just some photos of some of our vendors, and Taylor Pridham was our summer student this year, and I'm happy that she's coming back this summer. And she was really the support for the events that happened at the markets. She helped with those, and was responsible for collecting vendor fees every week and putting out the signs, and also had some support from the vendors in bringing the signs in at night, so Taylor didn't have to stay for the whole market. So those are just some photos. So some of the highlights. We opened the market on June 6th this year, so the first Friday of June. It was our fourth season in Hairston, and if you count the 2 seasons before that in Clifford, the Minto Farmers Markets have been around for 6 years. Like I mentioned, the new layout. We range from about 10 to 14 vendors each week, and with the public health regulations and maintaining our 50% farmers ratio, we would have more vendors than that, but we had to turn vendors away that were not considered farm vendors, because that would have put our ratio out of skew, and then we would have to have all of our vendors prepare their food in inspected kitchens, and we have a lot of Midnight and Amish vendors who we may lose if we had to do that. So we had to turn away non-farm vendors. And surprisingly, what they consider farm and not farm, we have Mennonite people who are obviously farmers who do baking. Well, they're not considered farmers if they do baking. And if you have a strawberry farm and you make strawberry jam with your strawberries, as soon as you make it in strawberry jam, you're not a farmer. Nope. So if you came to market with strawberry jam, you would count against us. So just some interesting things to keep in mind.
On that question, Belinda, if you fit the definition of a farmer, but you also had strawberry jam there.
So you couldn't.
You're still okay?
You couldn't have more, so you would only be able to have like 50% strawberries and 50%
Right,
jam.
okay.
But you
Yep,
couldn't
fair.
just like have more than 50% of jam.
Yep.
When I say new in 2014 Pillsbury Winery, I don't mean they're the only new vendor. What I meant to say there was it's a pilot program that the OMAFRA put in place to allow Ontario wines, to be sold at the market, and that was a really great, I think, pilot program from our perspective. Pillsbury was there every week at both markets, pretty much every week. They signed up for full season vendors, and it was a great asset. It brought a lot of people out to the market, and they did well. And when I was talking to Zena, she had said that she was surprised at how our markets did in comparison to other ones, and there's a high chance that they'll be back this year. So that was nice to hear.
I bought a lot.
There's just some more photos of some of our new vendors for this year. So up at the top there left, that's Susan Cowton. This was Ann Haw, and she was originally from Orangeville, but has a trailer up in this area.
Up in Lakelet.
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
just loved coming to the market on Fridays.
Yep.
And then Kathleen there did really cool face painting and stuff for the kids, and so all of those added something a little different to the market. Just really quickly on the budget, the Harrison Farmers Market really runs on a tight budget. They get most of their fees revenue from vendor fees. You can see there what that was. And then our expenses, we keep pretty basic on the advertising for them. And you'll see we share a lot of advertising with the Palmerston Market, partner whenever we can on Minto Farmers Market advertising. We had some event costs in that, so they have a small surplus of just over $220 this year. So. And then some ideas for what they have planned for 2015. We're opening on June 5th, 2015, so first Friday. Mark your calendar. We always have an opening event, season opening event. It is our 5th anniversary season, so we will be probably planning something special for that. We're looking at hosting more food-related events. Like I said, we do have that kitchen space there, and people were talking about doing some sort of a market cafe, partnering with Savor the Flavors, and having chefs come on site and do some tastings. They really like the concept that Palmerston has of the weekly raffle, and I'll let Mike and Luke talk about that. And then developing some sort of idea around a dinner menu and a market grocery list. So coming up with like, here's a menu for tonight, stop in at the market and you can pick up this, this, and this to create that meal. So just kind of doing some things a little differently.
That's a good idea.
A great idea.
Yeah. And, well, we can use that idea too, right? It's teamwork. So thank you, obviously, to the Town of Minto Council for continuing to support the farmers markets, allowing us staff time to support the committees. Our customers, that helps keep the markets going. Definitely, without the vendors, we wouldn't have any markets. And to our committee. So on the Harrison Committee, we have Jake Tyson, Caitlin Hall, Jennifer Hall. Lynn Phillip was on previously. She won't be continuing on in 2015, but Susan Cowton will be joining that group in 2015. So that is done. I'm going to let Luke and Michael take it over.
Hi, Council. I'm Luke Hartung from Harwell Farms, run by myself and my wife, Crystal. And me and Mike will run you through the Palmerston Farmers Market. It is located at the Heritage Museum, Railway Museum, and it's a great spot for us. We've been there going into our 5th year. And here's a picture of a few of our vendors. And once again, we had the winery at our location for this year too, which was great. And some more vendors.
Okay, yeah, we opened on June 7th. This is, like I said, this is our fourth year. We've had 8 to 12 vendors, give or take, depending on the time of the year. We had a number of new vendors besides Pillsbury, but yeah, that was a nice addition to the market this year. We had Romy. She sold lamb, and there's quite a few actually came and went. So the special events, our opening day, it's always a fairly good draw. People talked to us about the market all winter long, waiting for it to open, so they're keen to come the first day. The Strawberry Social, we have the Family Day, which is middle of July. We have a corn roast at the fair, and it's always pretty well attended, and the season-ending breakfast.
And we always do our best to represent Palmerston Farmers Market at parades in local areas. So this is us at the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Listowel. We usually try to attend the Palmerston Fall Fair Parade as well. And yeah, it's a source of income for us, so we seem to win.
Yeah, you always win. That was perfect.
Yeah,
It's also an excellent way to advertise too. Like
Yeah.
we hand out magnets and flyers and stuff like that, and
just a way of getting them, you know, we advertise the corn roast usually at the parade, handing out flyers to people, and the Listowel Parade, handing a list of events coming up for that year at the market, so yeah, easy way to advertise. This is some highlights from our corn roast eating contest, which is a part of our annual corn roast at the Palmerston Fall Fair, and there is our new glorious trophy.
Yeah.
We're thinking about getting some cream corn and putting the top, and
Yeah,
then we
that'd be
could
good.
chug it out of it or something. Maybe next year.
I'm going to win it this year.
Yeah,
Coming
okay,
up.
good. Well,
I should have had it this year. I got messing about and I got choking.
There's always next year.
I had it one, I think.
That's right.
Basically, and then I started playing with the music. Luke plays the music louder and louder and
Yeah.
faster and faster. And I started doing this. And I
George
got
got
choking
carried
and I
away.
couldn't get it down.
yeah, it's pretty entertaining, and we're always looking for new contestants.
Yeah,
So
anybody here
be up
can
there.
take me on.
We could do a council.
Council
Yeah,
challenge, yeah.
celebrity corn eating.
Yeah.
Then you might win.
Yeah, that's
Got a money
Yeah.
right.
Wow.
Just bragging rights.
Yeah.
Just bragging rights and that big trophy.
and the
Yeah,
T-shirt.
trophy, yeah.
A t-shirt, yeah.
One thing we did this year was weekly draws, so all the vendors pitched in and put something into the basket. And then we had little postcards where people filled out, and with a perforated tab that ripped off, and we threw it in. And at the end of every market day, we drew a name, and then we'd call them up during the week, come back
Yep.
the next week to collect a prize, their basket of goodies, right? So, and that worked out really, really well. We found it kept people coming back,
Yeah.
and it was well received.
Push the arrow. There we go.
Your budget.
Yeah, the 2014 budget. Yeah, so a lot of, we did run a deficit. There's a lot of things that are easily corrected on that. We got carried away on some things that, well, we didn't keep a close enough eye on, I guess, and so.
There's a couple one-time expenses in there too, like the trophy itself cost
Yeah.
$271.37. And there's another
Deficit.
one-time one there too.
The,
We paid double donation in the this fiscal year for the 2013 and 2014 donations to the museum. So if we would have excluded those
Oh,
two
right.
expenses, we would have been in the black. But I'm not too worried about $221 in the hole. So
No.
yeah, go right ahead.
And you'll also notice the Palmerston Market has a reserve fund. So the year before, they actually had $893.24 left over because they do such a great job of doing fundraising and stuff. So really, they're not costing any money.
No.
We have a couple plans for next year. So we open the day after the Harrison one does on Saturday, June 6th, from once again continuing our Saturday morning 9 till noon opening times. It's our 5th year as well, so that'll be lots of activities around that hopefully. A loyalty punch card. We talked about possibly having some sort of a card which would reward people that come, 10 of the 13 weeks we're open. We have to kind of hammer out those details yet. I do like the idea of the meal thing. We can maybe incorporate that in ours too. We're gonna try and do a farmer's market fundraiser trivia night, hopefully at the Roundhouse in late February. So stay tuned, be there. And we're gonna try to work on possibly creating an avenue to recruit some new vendors at the market. And we'd like to say a big thank you to the Palmerston Agricultural Society. They have donated some proceeds from their annual preceding Farmers Barbecue to us the last 3 years, I believe. So that has been awesome.
All right, we'd also like to thank the town of Minto. Like without you guys' support, we wouldn't be able to do this.
And Belinda.
And yeah, especially Belinda.
Yeah.
She's been fantastic, and really, like, she's been really the backbone of keeping us straight. Obviously, the customers, the other vendors, and the Farmers Market Committee. There's Tiffany Bird, who's my partner, myself, Bob McEachran, who runs the train station, Luke and Crystal, Connie Robinson, and this year we have a new member of our committee, Krista Lambier.
Any questions at all about either markets?
Questions?
Is it, through you, Mayor Bridge, is it profitable to the vendors? Like, has there been any complaints about lack of customers, I guess, would be the...
Well, it's really the vendor's choice if they want to be there. If they're making money or enjoying it, if they're not making money and not enjoying it, and they don't feel like it's worth their time,
stop.
then they'll probably stop.
No, and I know how much work it must be for the vendor, but it has to be rewarding as well, is my point.
And I think it must be, because many of our vendors, if you attend the market regularly, we've had a solid core at both markets. And there are ones that come and go, but we have had a pretty good number of consistent vendors at both markets.
That's excellent, and I want to thank you on behalf of the customer, for the effort you guys make, because we never miss the market every week.
That's what I want to say too, is they thanked me, but that's one of the things I enjoy about my job, is that I get the privilege and opportunity to work with these wonderful people. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a market.
That's right.
So I really enjoy working with this group of people. So keep coming out, people, and supporting the markets.
I'd just like to add one thing. I remember when, I forget what was a meeting, and Mike came up at a downtown revitalization meeting or something and asked, he said, do you think it'd be all right if I started a market? And that was about 6 years ago, I guess, when you had the first idea, Mike, and you had been involved in one where you lived before. So, you know, without people like yourself, Luke, and they're big benefits. And you know, I get bragging rights. We got 2 markets, and Belinda knows from our economic development and from the county level, like, you know, we're involved with Aberfoyle, and you guys work through Taste Real, and this is really important, the local food concept, and we just got to keep growing on it. So wherever we can do to help from a council standpoint, I believe we have councillors now helping out on the committees, and that was important, because I think that's what we feel from a council standpoint. I think, Judy, you're on the Palmerston one, and Jean's on, no, Mary Lou's on the Harrison one, and I appreciate that the councillors are going to be there helping out as well. So you have a direct line to us, and that's the importance we put on having those farmers markets, and we want to make sure they continue. Thanks very much for coming tonight. And I'd like to invite Allison Vasey up, and this is a new project, Allison.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to hearing from you, and we really think looking after our youth is very important. So
I heard that in your oral speech, so I'm excited to be here to give you an opportunity.
There you go. So just give us the full thing on this.
Right. So, good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. My name is Allison Vasey, and I am the Community Youth Resiliency Worker for North Wellington. I'm here today representing the North Wellington Coalition for Youth Resiliency. For those of you that are not familiar with the coalition, I will go into a little more detail. Previous council has made it to our launch event that happened in October at the OPP detachment in Tividale, and Matt Lubbers has also been involved in conversations throughout with our coalition. The North Wellington Coalition for Youth Resiliency was formed when a group of local service providers got together to start working on ways to address substance misuse and mental health awareness for youth in the North. After coming together, the service providers decided to apply for an Ontario Trillium Foundation grant for 3 years, which they were awarded, and the Mount Forest Family Health Team has taken on the grant. And I am the employee of the Mount Forest Family Health Team, but I serve the North as a whole. Our coalition is made up of representation from 15 different organizations serving within North Wellington. We have representation ranging from the health sector, justice, education, and social services. Before I go any further, I just want to take a second to kind of explain 2 key phrases or words that I'm going to be using coming up. And the first one is young people. Young people are people with many skills, interests, and abilities, experiences that are often untapped resources in our communities. They have the ability to be leaders, yet in many instances lack the opportunities to fulfill this potential. They are builders for our communities, and each one of them has a voice and expertise that they can share. When I use the word youth engagement, I mean when a young person is given the opportunity to participate in a meaningful activity that has a focus outside of him or herself. They are able to positively develop skills, gain confidence, and develop an appreciation for their community by working with supportive adults, not for them. As my role has developed over the past few months, we have kept the same focus of working to strengthen the protective factors and limit the risk factors for our youth. But we've taken kind of a wider scope in how we're going to do that now. We are working to create strong communities that are focused on positive youth engagement. So in front of you, one of the documents you will see is the list of the 40 developmental assets. So this was created by the Search Institute and lists 40 building blocks of healthy development. You can see that they are broken down into 8 categories, and under those it's either under external or internal assets. These 40 assets have been identified as assisting young people to grow up healthy, caring, and responsible. Research done around these 40 developmental assets consistently shows that youth who have more assets are more likely to thrive and therefore less likely to engage in risk-taking behavior. Our hopes over the next 3 years will be to strengthen those external assets for youth in North Wellington, which will then in turn complement the internal assets that follow. To get a feel for where some of our youth currently stood with regards to assets, I recently polled 100 Minto youth from Norwell Secondary School. I asked them very simple statements, and basically all they had to do was answer yes or no if the statement applied to their life. So I just kind of highlighted a few of the questions I think would kind of be of most interest with regards to community and neighborhoods. One of the statements was, I know some non-parent adults I can go to for advice and support. And 23% of the youth said that they do not know non-parent adults they can go to. I asked them, the statement, my neighbors encourage and support me, and of those 100 youth, 63 answered no to that question. I asked, I feel valued by adults in my community, and I had 33% answer no, they do not. I asked, I am given useful roles in my community, and I had 54 youth respond that they feel they are not. I then asked, do my neighbors take responsibility for monitoring my behavior? And I got a response of 86% of the youth saying that they do not. The last question that I think pertains was, I serve in my community 1 hour or more each week, and 77% of the youth said that they do not.
Oh, wow.
This is a very basic amount of information, but it makes it very clear to see that there's a disconnect between our youth community and the community as a whole. In order to be successful in our project and really create the most lasting change within a 3-year window, we know it cannot just be service providers that we focus on. We are trying to get everybody on board, so we are providing the same message and support to our local youth. In front of you, you will see the 5 action strategies, the little globe-looking one. There we go. This simple model is what we are drawing on in order to create community change. In order to fully mobilize our youth, we know we need to have adults involved, our service providers, schools, and businesses on board. We need to have support from local leaders and council, as well as adapt and enhance the programs to become more asset-rich for our youth. So, how are we going to do all this? The Coalition is hosting its first ever all-community conversation around youth in North Wellington, and that would be the flyer that you see attached there. We want to use this day to really hear the opinions and needs of those living in the community to see for our youth. We are calling this day North for Youth. We are bringing together the town of Minto and the townships of Mapleton and Wellington North to start creating some key areas of focus around youth. By involving a larger part of the whole community, we can better start addressing the areas of concerns that will be identified. We have hired an external facilitator to host this day and help us develop a work plan to move forward with. The day is open to anyone who works, volunteers, or interacts with youth, as well as parents, neighbors, and youth themselves. Essentially, this is an open invitation to anybody in the community who has an interest or concern for the youth. The conversation will take place on Saturday, February 21st, starting at 9 a.m. and wrapped up no later than 3 p.m. You may question why we have chosen a Saturday, but we purposely have done that in hopes to better ensure attendance from community members and the youth themselves, as opposed to typically working hours, which would only really benefit the service providers of the community. Being that we are funded for all of North Wellington, we have chosen to host one conversation for all 3 communities. We are hosting this day out of Kenilworth Public School, as it is geographically the most central location for all the areas. North for Youth is flipping the general approach that is so widely used by service providers when it comes to addressing problems. We are no longer just relying on the professionals. In order to build a strong community, it becomes everyone's work. We are not focusing on just at-risk youth, but rather all young people in the area. We are not looking at programs alone as addressing the concerns, but putting heavy importance on the relationships within these communities. More importantly, we are looking to create a community where young people get the idea that they are resources and not problems to be fixed. I'm simply here today to inform the Minto Council of our coalition and of our North for Youth event and invite you to join our conversation. We as a coalition see the value that youth can bring to a community, a project, and a group, and we hope that you guys do as well.
Great.
Good job.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Questions?
Thank you for coming. I'm chair of the 2016 International Clown Match, and that would be a tremendous venue in order to have youth involved in the event and the community. Where my question would be, do you have a like a membership, or is this a venue where they just come and maybe sign in?
To help out for
Well,
me of my own?
Yeah, like for our organization, we do have logistical details that we have to follow.
Absolutely.
And so under the volunteer sheet, then there has to be an involvement. And also, it could be a fundraising thing for you, because we do support the charities with the profit from the Clown Match. So I guess in the volunteer sheet, it has to be associated, the name has to be associated with an organization.
That's a very good question. We just started, my position just started in July, so we're still in the very early stages of things. One of our hopes is to kind of get some form of a youth group formed, whether that becomes a youth council, like a youth advisory council, or whether it becomes more a youth volunteering database. That would definitely be something down the line. 2016 is a little bit away, so I still have some time to think of a good solution there. I also know, no, I would just, yeah, we'll work on that. We'll find a way to.
Could I give you my card, and then
okay.
you and I will be in touch?
Yes.
Soliciting.
That worked out pretty good.
But yeah, our hopes is to really develop, I'm starting to develop a database of youth myself amongst the areas, but I see what you're saying when they have to come from an organization, and that's something that we're hoping to work on.
Yeah, because the money would go through to the North Wellington Coalition.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Mayor Bridge, thank you. Allison, can you just elaborate a little bit on the North for Youth? I know you talked about it. Yeah. So 9 o'clock in the morning, people show up, we have conversation, they sign up. What exactly?
So on the invitation, you will see that there is a website address.
Yeah.
So it's a whosin.com address.
Right.
And the posters I'm putting out around town will have a tear-off strip that people can grab and take home and register. When they come for the event, the beginning of the day is kind of going to be framing the conversation. And then it'll be a very simple, probably background approach to what the 40 developmental assets are, speaking about what information we found. So some of those exact percentages that I kind of gave you, but with regards to all the townships, doing some other kind of background information for those in the room. And then we're going to kind of start moving from looking at what our end goal will be and moving from, instead of what's wrong, to what's possible. So the day is really structured around identifying priorities, narrowing it, strengthening it, and then maybe what we as a community can start doing to work on those. So it's, I have a draft agenda, but it's very draft right now. But it's working in smaller groups. So we actually have a coalition meeting tomorrow where we're discussing the structure of those groups, and it could be that we're going to have it structured for part of the day into township groups so that we can really, if there's specific issues or needs to Minto or specific concerns for Wellington North, and then coming together as a whole, so how as we as North for Youth can start identifying these. Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good, thank you.
Mary Lou and then Ron.
I was just wondering, one of the questions that you asked that bothered me was when 77% said they did not volunteer for an hour a week. And do you feel that's because they don't know where volunteer opportunities are, or they don't have the interest in volunteering, or like they're
Yeah.
mandated to volunteer with their schooling,
Yes.
correct?
Part of it could be the question it does ask each week. So some may have done all their 40 hours in a summer, and that could have been how they obtained their mandatory hours. But that being said, the youth that I've talked to with regards to volunteering, a lot of them, if they don't have a community connection, they don't necessarily volunteer. So if their family doesn't have a history with something, then they don't volunteer. When I've been speaking with the Wellington Guelph Volunteer Center, they've also said sometimes it's like pulling teeth getting organizations and businesses up here to allow youth volunteers, because some, and I'm not saying all, but some organizations don't see the value. It's a lot of work to take on a youth, to train a youth and really have them as a volunteer, and some organizations and businesses up here don't have that capacity. So it could be a mixture of both. It could just be a lack of motivation, and if the youth doesn't see value in their community, then they're not really going to be too involved to want to give up, I say give up, but dedicate an hour of their time to that community. But there are youth who do volunteer, and there are youth who do great work volunteering. But like I said, it could also be just that the questions said each week, and those ones aren't necessarily. But the way the developmental assets are structured, it sees value in doing it each week because you're maintaining a relationship and a skill development and your commitment. So that's why they ask you if you've done it every week.
Ron?
My question is, and maybe this is dumb, but could there be apathy within the youth group? And those questions you asked, have you asked the students say what they needed, why they don't, and how do I meet those needs? You know, that's.
No,
know.
I find, so part of my job has been to have these conversations with youth and to go out and meet with them and sit with them and talk. And I would probably say apathy is the best word to describe some of their behaviors and their opinions towards things. Some of them don't know where to turn to start to get involved. Like I said, if they don't have a family that's involved in the community already, or I know I get from a lot of them that an older brother may have done something bad and now that last name is shamed, and now they're not getting an opportunity because that brother may have stolen something when he worked at that job.
That happened. My brother did that.
I look how you benefit.
Your other brother.
And look where he is now.
I always blame Jim, but that's all right.
But there are youth, I've had a lot of youth, and they would be youth that you probably would categorize as the maybe on the fence, lackluster youth, who when I started telling about this project, they are so happy about it. They just want to get involved in something, and they're looking for a way to get involved.
Okay, so there is a,
There is
they want to
there's a
need, they just
thirst
don't know how
for
to
it.
reach that.
Yes.
And you're going to try and.
Yes, I'm going to try to tap
Okay.
and pull it in.
Absolutely. Okay.
And really get the youth group that aren't already currently involved in student council, sitting on this committee, sitting on that.
So they'd like to get out of that apathy.
Yeah,
They'd like to move on.
they are a lot. Some of them are, it's going to be more work. Some of them need more services than I can provide to get out of that apathy, but there are ones who are just looking for something to hold on to and be a part of. And that's what I think will help with a lot of it once they find out that formalized network of things that they can get involved in.
Okay.
I think one of the things too, if you look at 77%, and if you look out into the public, you probably only got 30% of the adults that are involved in volunteering. So as you say, 70% aren't.
That's high.
So that's probably high. So they don't have a direction, and this is an opportunity to work on a direction. And it's those are learned skills. They're not, you just don't get born with those.
That's right.
So I think it's a great project to work on. and hopefully I can make it for that. You want people like ourselves there?
I would love for people
And,
like yourselves to attend. The more the merrier.
yeah.
All are welcome. We are providing lunch, so you will get fed.
Okay, there.
That's important.
Good. There are snacks too, so you can munch throughout the day.
Got to find out what lunch is, though.
Yeah. We're deciding that tomorrow, so if you have any suggestions, by all means, let me know.
I'll call you.
But on those posters are my contact information as well as how to register for the event. And I encourage you to spread the word through to your own networks, your community,
Right.
your own youth that you know in your lives. We're really just trying to get a good turnout at the event to really hear the opinions.
Thank you, Allison.
Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Have a
good
great night,
luck.
guys.
All right, let me see. There we go. Question period? Questions? Questions? Right. Correspondence received for information or requiring direction of council. We had e-agendas and scanned emails. Does anybody want to speak to any of those? A motion to accept the Councillor Turton and Councillor Anderson. All in favor?
That's early.
Well, she's being blocked out. Judy's blocking you out, Gene. I know you want it.
How did you see
She's blocking you out there. I had to get at that. so.
That's the wrong finger.
All in favor, that's passed, okay. Reports of committees and town staff. Has received North Wellington Healthcare.
Rich, if I may, we have the letter from Jerome Quenville. Is that what we're
referring to?
If I could maybe last peg about that. Because we don't have a set of minutes from them.
No, we don't.
We have a letter.
Yeah,
It's a press release, right?
yeah. So,
I just received that for information, and
Yeah.
then probably should be under correspondence, and then there is Source Protection Committee minutes
yeah, those are exciting. I'm sorry, yes,
from October 3rd.
yeah.
Was there a set of minutes that maybe we need to bring back, or is it a letter?
Yeah,
The letter I sent the letter on Friday electronically from the age-friendly community planning grant. I sent that electronically on Friday,
Okay.
but I omitted the first letter.
No, source water minutes are in here.
yeah, we're here.
Just that the word minutes should be struck from the North Wellington
Yeah,
Healthcare
it's
Board.
just a letter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, just a letter, no.
Yeah,
It's a press release.
yeah.
I was just, if I may, Mayor Bruce, then we just need a motion to receive both those.
Yeah.
Unless
Motion
there's
received.
comment on them.
Councillor Elliott, Councillor Caldwell, all in favor? Carried, okay. Is a source, we still need the Source Protection Committee, that's not the one that they're talking about. You're on that one, David, now?
Yes.
Okay. Because that's sort of getting to the end of its life, right?
Yes.
It's beginning, but the committee is, yes.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have staff reports, business economic. Belinda's coming up on this one. Second time I heard this today. Well, we had a letter of support from the county as well on this, for this, yeah.
From economic
Didn't hear from
development
Belinda.
or accessibility?
No, not from you, Belinda.
The accessibility committee we're waiting for a letter on, so if you could push them along.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're
Okay.
getting it, I think. That was what it was.
Oh, not the economic development committee?
Both of them.
Oh, good, excellent, perfect, okay. Alrighty, so basically, if you've read my report, I won't go much into detail, but we're partnering with Wellington North and Mapleton, as well as the Mount Forest Health Team and the Senior Center for Excellence on applying for this age-friendly community planning grant. By working together, we can apply for $35,000 instead of $25,000, and in the north here, we like to partner with our neighbors. We have received a lot of letters already of support from other community groups within our area, and the list is there, so you can see who we've talked to already. And basically, we're looking to, Wellington North is taking the lead on the application, and we are looking to hire somebody to create this plan for us and implement it, and just that seniors are important to the community and from an economic development standpoint as well, and that they have a lot of value that they can bring to the community, and that we support them in aging well here and that sort of thing. So that's basically what it is. The application is due January 31st, so Dale is finishing that up. I believe it goes to Wellington North Council next Monday. And we have this recommendation here that council should support, and then we're good to go.
Always good for money.
Right. Any questions for Belinda on this? Pretty straightforward and good project.
Good luck, Glenn.
Can I have a motion on that recommendation? Deputy Mayor Faulkner and Councillor Turton, and all in favor? There you got her. And I will check on the accessibility. We haven't had an accessibility meeting, that's probably why it hasn't come. But maybe, we'll definitely have the economic development one is on the way.
Because for this grant, they specifically say that you should be in contact with the accessibility council or whatever for our area, so it's really important that we have their letter of support, and she's not returning our emails or phone calls.
Well, probably she hasn't had a meeting, so, but just because we didn't have a meeting in January.
But we can at least hear that.
Yeah. I will check on that tomorrow for you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll get David to do it, he's here too. One of us will do it. Okay, thank you. Chief of Building Inspector,
Thank you.
your year-end review.
Oh, you make me sound so important. Yes, we had good 2014. Permit numbers, we ended up issuing a touch under 170 permits, which is slightly below average, but nothing to be worried about by any means. Dollar value, we're right on the money at average. So overall, I think we had a pretty successful year. Residentially speaking, we got 26 new units in the municipality.
Wow.
22 of those are singles and a couple of semis. Commercial and industrial was a good year. They were both strong. Agricultural, though, that was kind of a little bit on the light side in construction value-wise, but it fluctuates year to year depending on...
You've had 2 big years on agriculture, so a little breathing space. Maybe.
Yeah, no, everything looks good, and things are definitely looking positive for this year too. So,
But from an operational base from the municipality, we're better off with more residential permits.
oh, it's a catch-22.
It's a catch-22?
Yeah,
Okay.
They kind of both go hand in hand, so it's, everything's good.
I know from a building
Mr. Elliott.
permit side.
The question is it pretty equal across the community? Like, I guess you said ag was down a bit, but Clifford, Harrison, Palmerston, pretty equal on where the buildings are being built, or?
They're trending normally. Clifford usually doesn't have the growth like Hairston and Palmerston, so they've been trending the same patterns that they always have in terms of density of development. So
how's that trend like with this?
I could come back with a breakdown
Okay, that's all right.
if you want.
No, I'm just trying to get an idea where people are moving and how.
Unit-wise, we probably saw the most growth in Palmerston, which is the same as normal. Harrison, we had a few, and Clifford we've only had a couple this year, which is once again that's kind of the norm.
So you're fine with that? There's nothing that we have to promote one community over the other to try and get things going?
Well, the township of Minto is the best.
Yeah.
No, everything. No, they're all doing really good.
Except for the odd person out there.
So, no, I think everything's good. Yep,
flowing.
it's going.
Yep.
I'd just like to point out, over the last 3 years, we've averaging 5,700,000 in residential, which is really important. And a little impact, Gord, you'll love this. Emma was doing an impact thing at County today on AFP, and you know, they keep telling us how well they're ahead and all that stuff, and they're 2 years behind. And so unfortunately, a lot of our growth that we see here, we haven't seen on the books yet for taxes, so they're really going to push hard, because I think when we see some of this growth going on, especially even the commercial industrial, we've had some good wins. People see it out there, but unfortunately, when it comes to budget time, we haven't got the money in our pocket yet, because until that final impact inspection comes, as you know, we don't get
The money. Yep.
the money, that people don't have the taxes. So it's really frustrating, and I think this growth going forward will help us do a good job on our budget. So keep up the good work on that.
I'm trying.
And you know, Judy, did you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment that just because the agricultural buildings are down, there may well be some single-family dwellings or some residential additions and renovations that are in the township portion of
Oh,
our
yeah,
town.
for sure.
It's not, I mean, those tend to be barns and sheds, I would expect. right?
Yeah, the agricultural stuff is strictly ag. It wouldn't include even like a detached garage out in the country or
Right.
secondary dwelling or new
Yeah.
house. So there is more going on in the rural area than just
Than in the
what's
township,
listed
yeah.
under the
It was
agricultural.
just a.
But the motivation is to draw everybody to the communities. They don't want, they don't trend out to the agriculture areas. You used to be able to buy a lot from a farm, for example. Now they're asking you that you
Yeah, exactly.
develop in the urban areas,
Yeah,
correct?
they're limiting the severances in
And that's part of
agricultural
the reason
areas,
for that,
so
too.
that, yeah, you're not gonna see those wee little tiny lots.
Right.
um,
Or even
occurring.
subdivisions out in the,
Subdivisions are pretty much gonna be all urban, so it's, yeah.
okay.
Well, and just to give you an idea, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Bridge. Terry, when you really look at this and you look at the last 3 years, the big one there is the institutional, and was that likely the OPP station? I'm not
Yep.
sure. It could have been the library. But you plucked that
Both.
7.5 million out of there and put it into the other 2 years, which it could have happened that way. You know,
We're right back to
We're
normal.
consistent.
it's extremely even all the way through.
That was, 2012 was, it was absolutely an exceptional year. We've never seen that high of growth
Yep.
ever since I've been here, which I'm assuming it hasn't been prior to, so that's kind of a bump in our trend, but it's,
And that's because of Belinda, correct?
It's a good bump.
it's very good, yeah.
Well, I think the other comment I want to make is, and I've seen it in action over the last 4 years, when people come in through Belinda's group and yourself, and even in the county planning department, and Bill and Brian, we sit down, we talk to those developers. We've got a reputation out there of being open door. Like, we can find ways to do things. And I think that really is on the staff's, their abilities to what they've done, and that's why we've seen this growth, and we're going to continue to see this growth, is because Minto is out on the map as open to do business, and it'll help all our taxpayers in the end, because it just gives us more base. And so keep up the good work.
Yeah, we've heard it the last, probably 3 to 4 years that you get developers in, you know, people who want to spend money in the community, they come here for a meeting. Well, it's not just meeting with one person, it's the department heads across the board. So they get all the information that they are looking for right then and there before they leave. So it's, they definitely like it too. It's just a lot quicker for them, so it's good.
Good job.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
All right,
One motion to receive.
motion to receive that. Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Turton, all in favor? Okay. And next is up is
Number 3.
clerks. Who's doing that, Peggy?
Eggs on her way.
All right.
Trip on a cord or
No,
something.
she's good. She's heading her on that way.
Running the camera.
Reconstructed knee.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, council.
Good evening, Peg.
So the first report I have before you is for a severance application. This is the, I guess the first application that we've looked at since new members of council. So just to just say that we are just supporting applications. We don't actually approve them because the applications are heard at the Planning Land Division. So the applicant is Mr. Bill Knapp, and he called this week and said he couldn't be here because he's in Dominican and it's nice water. So he asked if there was any concerns, and I said from the meeting with staff that we didn't think there was any real concerns with the application. So he is proposing to sever off 3 hectares or 7.4 acres and retain 293 acres. And he currently resides on the land and conducts an agricultural commercial business on the property. So you'll see on your map what he is proposing to sever is that little yellow box. So it's basically the building cluster, that he's looking to sever off from the rest of the property. So the building official and the Public Works Director and myself met to discuss the application, and there is a standard set of fees, financial fees, that we have to process a severance application, so that's listed as one condition to be met. And the other one is that the building official noted that the parcel that he is proposing to sever would require rezoning to address the greenhouse uses on the property. You'll see the planner report is also attached to the report, and she addresses rezoning as well. She also addresses two other points that you'll see that I have not included in our recommendation, because they are MDS requirements that the county needs to see for compliance, as well as an entrance off the roadway, and it is a county roadway, so therefore it's a county condition and not so much a town of Minto condition. Is there any questions?
Questions? Councillor Elliott?
I just, a couple of questions. It's an irregular lot, like it's not square or rectangle, it's like, why is that? Like, why?
Part of the tree, he has trees on all three sides of, like, there's trees on the west side and the north side and the south side, so he wanted to have some of the trees on his property and then some of the trees on the
So he's just following?
He's just kind of following the tree line around, yeah.
And so okay, and the second is he owns all that property, I take it?
Yes, it's 3 100-acre parcels.
And what is the purpose, what's the thoughts? Why does he want to sever that property, or do we care?
I'm guessing it's, I don't know, I'm assuming.
I guess we don't care,
It's the fact
right?
that he is, yeah, it's his business is on that property, and that's why he's looking to
He
take
just
that
wants
off.
that property itself,
But
okay.
he owns, yeah, he owns the other 300 acres.
right?
Judy, do you have your?
I was just wondering if Mr. Knapp is aware of the rezoning requirement?
Yes, I did, when I spoke to him on the phone today, I said, or this week, I did say that it would likely be a condition, that it was listed on the recommendation as a condition for rezoning, so he was aware of that.
And he has an understanding of what that means?
I believe, Terry, did you speak to him? No, you didn't speak to him? Okay. I did mention that it could possibly, that we had it listed as a condition for rezoning, so that the greenhouses would be encompassed within that.
And what would the rezoning, how would it be rezoned? What would be?
Would it be special ag? You want to come up, Terry?
Commercial ag?
Or you can use that
Commercial
one?
Commercial ag.
Well, commercial, yeah, like, there's a,
It'll probably be rezoned, I'm guessing, to a site-specific agricultural. He's got a commercial greenhouse there, as well as helicopter hangars, or a helicopter hangar,
Okay.
so I'm guessing that's what it'll be rezoned to. The farmland will just stay straight
Sure.
agricultural and
Yep.
natural environment.
Yes.
I was going to say, there's quite a bit of natural environment on this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. And will that rezoning in that specific area, will that protect us if somebody else buys it and decides to put a different type of agricultural commercial business in there?
Typically, like for the building cluster itself, typically it's rezoned based on what the ongoing uses are. So if it's limited to specific things, then that's the only thing. If I was to buy it, that's the only things that I'd be able to do without having to come back and
rezone it. Thank you. That's my question.
Okay, any other questions? Oh, motion to receive, I guess. Approve the recommendation, sorry. Okay, Councillor Elliott and Councillor Turton, all in favor? Okay, good. Off to the land division. Good.
Okay, so the second report before you is, I'm looking for council direction. As you're aware, the town receives correspondence from various ministries and agencies regarding nominations for a variety of citizens' awards. There's a list of awards that we receive yearly, and our normal procedure is to place this correspondence on the council agenda. And then the staff can't, and then we're asking you to pull that piece of agenda and either bring nominations forward at the time or at the next meeting. And so if council approves the proposed information management system that we proposed at the last budget meeting, we are asking if council will consider one of 4 processing ways to award these programs. And so that would be either on page 2 of the report, which would be under the new IMS electronic system, that we would, the correspondence would be put on the agenda in advance, and we would put the onus on councillors to pull it and nominate nominees, or develop a process where nominations from the community for the 8 awards outlined are solicited from the community and follow up to assist the nominees with filing. Or similar to item 2, except that staff brings forward the names so that council can nominate individuals on behalf of the town, or immediately refer all the pieces of correspondence to the Park and Recs Advisory Committee and or the Economic Development for recommendations regarding suitable nominees. So we firmly believe that the new system that we're looking at bringing in, the information management system, will help to regulate this information and help us to track it and record it properly. But we're just looking for direction from council as to which of the options you'd like to go forward with as far as having names, nominee names brought forward for awards within the township. We just don't want to, we think the new system will work good, but we still need a way in order to nominate citizens for these provincial awards that we don't want to see Minto people not being nominated to.
Councillor Caldwell, then Councillor Dirks.
Personally, I like number 2, where it's nominated from the community, that they bring forward names, and then, like you say, where it goes from there is either to council or to one of the subcommittees, but that it is community involvement rather than just council.
Thank you, Mayor Burge. Through you to Peg. I would like to see as many minds on it as possible as well. I think it's great if the community has a say in it, but we need to backstop in case we don't get any responses.
Yeah.
It's kind of a terrible thing to have these wonderful awards and then not to have somebody actually be awarded them. So I think it's really important that as many people as possible have an ability to, or have an opportunity to make a nomination for them.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bridge. And I agree with the previous comments from Councillor Dirksen and Councillor Caldwell. I would like to see kind of 2 and 3 combined. And if those 2 were combined, then we would be able to not only get the involvement of the community, but also filter it through to the council from the staff. I like a combination of 2 and 3.
I would like to concur with that as well and make it reach broader and further than just economic committees or committees that are well known to council. There are other communities out there and communities that maybe don't have a big affiliation with council, but there's certainly people performing valuable services there. So I think you'd have to find a way to advertise it well throughout the community so that you're not missing people who are, people travel in certain circles and they just don't get well known. So you need to make it widely available for the town so we get best access to everybody.
Bill?
I think to that point, we heard today in one of our meetings that these letters are actually going to some of the groups, and that's a good thing. But if they know that we're out there to help them, sometimes it means putting together a bit of a nomination package and all that. And so I think 2 and 3 would kind of accommodate that, but also, as Councillor Anderson said, getting our name out there so that they know they can file through us if they need the help.
Yep,
Yeah,
I like that.
And I think one of the biggest problems, and I've seen some of the, it's daunting for some groups, because they look at it and they go, oh my goodness, like they're volunteers, and they get this, yeah, we could nominate that person, but look, you got to fill out 15 forms, and it's scary. And so I think I'd like 2 and 3 because it allows us to get it out to the groups, get some input, but have staff help them through the process, because I think that's why we're missing out on some of these awards. We've got great people out there doing a lot of good things, but they make it kind of complicated to get it. And they need those rules and regulations, don't get me wrong. It's like any other form, but if we can help out, if everybody's sort of in agreement, 2 and 3 seems to be we give staff a direction on that basis? Or did you need a recommendation on that? You got it here. Sorry, Ron, go ahead.
Just quickly, this is just for nominees. We won't be making a decision on these people. Can we nominate 4 or 5 for each, or is it just one nominee for each award? Or, I mean, it's not really clear. And how that, whether if 5 people come up with and say, I've got Lincoln Alexander Award, we got 5 people in Minto we want to nominate. Can we do that, or how does that work?
Typically, it depends on the award, but
yeah.
It may be that you can only be one nominated by council, but the Agricultural Society
could nominate somebody.
Another name and so forth. So that would be part of working in those 2 options, is finding out how many names come out and filtering through the right way and getting people nominated who are qualified to do so. So it sort of depends on the award.
So we could find a way of getting people nominated if we can't, if we feel there's a couple that need to be nominated, we can get another group to do that if we have to.
I do believe that there's a lot of people don't get nominated just because of the process.
Complexity, yeah.
Complexity, and I mean, it's unfortunate, because we should recognize people as much as we can for we're talking about trying to get people to volunteer, trying to get people to be involved. Anytime you have a chance to recognize them. So I think if we can work on something with the staff 2 and 3, and there'll be some bugs, Ron, but we'll work them out.
Yep.
But if we want to do that, so that's a recommendation I believe is here.
Well, if you just do the recommendation to receive the report and proceed with
Yep.
options 2 and 3, that's
all right.
Perfect.
Can I have a mover on that? Jean? Dave? All in favor? Perfect. Good job. Nice report.
Okay, and one more report. So back in 2014, it was requested, a council request to look at our special events permit application. And so staff met to look over the application and make some changes to that process. The idea is to develop a user-friendly process while ensuring that municipal safety and liability measures are in place. At the same time, maintain customer service and create efficiencies within the application process. Staff discussed providing a blanket approval bylaw for a 4-year term of council, and when staff met, we came up with 7 groups who conduct annual events requiring road closures or road toll booths. And so the staff, the 7 groups that we were looking at for that blanket bylaw were the Palmerston and Harrison Agricultural Fair Parades, all 3 of the Town of Minto Santa Claus Parades, and the Palmerston and Harrison Remembrance Day Parades. There is other regular road closures, tolls, which would also include the Harrison Kinsman Cystic Fibrosis, the Clifford Recreation Association August Long Weekend Road toll, the Terry Fox Run in Palmerston, and the Touch a Truck event in Harrison, as well as the Heart and Stroke Big Bike event in Harrison and Palmerston. So all of those events happen every year, and usually the same time of year. The first 7 that I mentioned were the 7 that staff said maybe we could look at doing a blanket bylaw for these. But I just throw it out there that there is those other remaining ones as well. The idea is to proactively contact each of the groups and advise them of the new process if council approves it. And with our new system, when we get up and running on the website, would be to have an online form that could be developed where the organizations could fill it out, and as soon as they hit the submit button, it would be emailed to myself and Chris Harrow and the other emergency contact people. Because right now, as it stands, they have to fill out the form and then mail it to those contact or email it to those emergency services contacts. So the process would just allow the event organizers to circulate the request via email to the various emergency services as well as Public Works. So listed on page 2 of the report are some of the...
Just before you,
Sure.
just before you leave that, I believe the firemen do an annual fill the boot, I forget what their,
Oh,
yeah, it's a toll, and they are in uniform and they have a big boot out there. And I'm pretty sure they do it every year. So that should be added to that blanket one as well.
That's Harrison, you say?
I think Clifford does it as well, and but I can't speak for Palmerston.
I don't remember promise.
No, I think it's Clifford.
I think it's just Clifford and Harrison.
do it.
I'm sorry, and you called it a boot?
Well,
Fill the boot.
They use a boot.
they use a boot,
They use a big fire boot. and
fire boot.
You put your donation in the boot,
And I,
and you get a little sticker saying that you've been through the toll already.
Okay. So the suggested changes to the application are that applications be submitted 60 days prior to the event. And the reason for that particular change is because we have had in the last 2 years, an application has come in the day after a council meeting and happened to be in the month of August when you didn't have another council meeting until the beginning of September. So, I mean, as long as they make contact with us to say that we're doing an event or whatever, if they don't have all their information in until a week prior, that's fine, as long as they've made the initial contact. And the submissions, again, to the emergency people. The site, have a site plan sketch or the mapping route, which is currently, the mapping route is currently in the application. It's just the site plan is something that's new. We're looking to increase the proof of insurance to 3 million. All of the applicants this year, their insurance already was 3 million,
Okay.
but our previous applications did 2 million.
okay, so
we're looking
they're
to
already
up
at
that.
3 million.
Yeah. And just the authority signature accepting responsibility, and the number of applicants in attendees, and the reason for that is crowd control for OPP, depending on what the event is, and also adding a checkbox as to whether or not the event is licensed or not. So those are the things that we're looking to add to or change to the actual application. Everything else that's on the application was already on the application. We're just looking to make those amendments to it. So what we're proposing is this blanket bylaw option. So at council's direction, whether you'd like to go with the 7 that staff suggested or whether you'd like to go with all of them that were listed in the report. And it would mean bringing back a policy, an updated policy, as well as a blanket bylaw that would include all of those organizations, plus schedules for every group and date and route, as the case may be, for each of those. And then we wouldn't have to keep coming back every time there's a special events permit for this term of council. We would do it all at once with one blanket bylaw. And if something were to happen where we had road construction and we had to change a route,
Right.
then we would just have to amend that schedule to the bylaw for whichever, let's say it was, you know, the fair parade or whatever. We just have to amend that one schedule.
Councillor Caldwell and then Councillor Troop.
Through you, Mayor Bridge. Some of these require road closures and some do not. Does that make a difference in the application, or?
Even if we did the blanket bylaw, we would still be asking them to fill out the application. So even though you're approving we still require the application and the proof of insurance before they actually have the event. So if it doesn't require a road closure, but it's still a road toll, then yes, it would. If it would be like the big bike event,
They don't close any road?
They don't usually close the road.
Oh,
They usually
no.
just stop traffic for it to turn left off of Elora Street. Is that correct?
I think so.
Last year, I don't even think we stopped traffic. It
You were
wasn't
fast.
necessary.
No, I don't think we have.
Did you have
No,
an
I
escort?
think-
Did you have an escort?
No, we did not.
No. Oh, wow.
Okay.
In fact, it was
So
one of
that
the
one maybe
issues.
wouldn't require the road closures.
I don't think
Yeah.
the big bike would
The big bike did not.
Go
Okay.
pretty fast.
Do they?
Well, if I'm on them.
Depends on who's
30
peddling
people
here.
peddling, they better go
Yeah,
fast.
if you raise the
And the
most
touch-
money, you get to sit at the back.
A
but don't have
touch a
to pedal.
truck is another one that does not require road closure. correct?
Actually, that one does.
It did last
Yeah.
time
Oh,
because
did
And
they
I
closed.
spoke to Chris Harrow this week about that. He said just because they overflow onto the street, just for safety reasons, they'd like to close the one off of Elora Street
Yeah.
and half of the up back as
Yeah,
far as the old GM,
Yeah.
like that, behind Max would still be open, but the other side of that block would be closed.
Once Max went in, they lost that whole,
Right.
so they had to go out into the street a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yes,
I'm sorry,
thank
Dave.
thank you,
Yeah,
Mayor
sorry, Mr.
Bridge. I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think you guys have put a lot of thought into this, and it's similar to our liquor licensing to do with there's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different groups that it's kind of an automatic thing every year. For instance, the Valentine's Dance, the Lions, the Clifford Rotary, the Ag Stag, and a few of those other things. And I mean, I think that works really well.
Better.
Yeah, so,
Good comparison.
sure.
Ron?
If we forget someone that's on the list, or someone that doesn't need that, how easy is it to change or add people or take people off?
The,
You're talking about the
I'm just
blanket?
looking to see
So,
if it
yeah,
was
so we're
amended
doing a
after.
blanket, say we put 6 people, and all of a sudden somebody comes along with a new event and says, you know, we're gonna run this annually. Can they jump into that bylaw easy enough, or do we have to bring that back to council if we're gonna make that change?
We could do one of two things. It would definitely need to come to council if it's a road closure. So it could come to council and then become a blanket and be a schedule attached to the bylaw that we are going.
At that council meeting, we would add them.
Yeah, that's right.
If it's
And
an
it could be for that, but we'll only be doing it for this term of office. It's
Right.
not beyond that, then we have to relook at it
Okay.
again.
Thank you. So my one question has been answered. But my other question was, it looks like a great idea. But I guess I'm wondering what happens when the calls are made to these groups and they see something in this that we've missed because we're not the groups. Like if there's a challenge that makes this difficult for anybody, does it come back to us, or I just don't know how that's handled.
Well, we certainly work with the groups because we
Yep.
want to see their event successful. So
course.
if there's anything that they have a question on or whatever, we certainly we can add it to it or amend the application.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. Do you have something that you were thinking?
Well,
or-
I guess I'm just thinking, I don't know what the capacity is of all the groups, but, I mean, the groups that you mentioned, I think they can probably handle the 60 days and putting together, they probably just recycle the stuff they've done in the past, right? Which makes really good sense for doing this, but I guess I'm just thinking of a newer group that might find it challenging to do it, I don't know, 60 days ahead or
Well,
those kinds of
and
things.
there is some flexibility with that, like
Okay.
I said earlier, as long as they've made the initial contact within 60 days so that we are, I mean, if I don't have all of their documents, as long as we have them a week prior.
Sure.
And the
You get the
insurance
ball
is
rolling
really,
anyways.
yeah, the insurance portion is really important, or if they're doing the road toll, to have a list of the participants that are taking part or whatever. So as long as we've made contact, and as long as I have the information, even if it's the Friday before the event, as long as I have the information, that's the
Okay.
important part, for liability's sake.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, it was just that point that if it's the Friday before the event, as long as we've got them in the blanket, we're okay. If we
That's
don't have them in the blanket the Friday before the event,
Yeah.
that's the problem we're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, not saying that it happened, but you get people out collecting a toll, they've got their insurance, EMS has been told, we have the list of people, but we never did a bylaw. Because there just wasn't time, or they didn't apply in time. So we're trying to avoid that, make it easier, as Peg says.
Yeah.
And what can happen with groups is you get changes in who runs an event. So by having the bylaw, it gives us a little bit more flexibility, because if they're already in the blanket bylaw, then, you know, it's getting close to the event or whatever, and somebody wakes up and says, oh, we got it. But there's no council meeting. That was where we were running into problems, because what's happened in the past is, you know, somebody said, well, did you get all the approvals to close the road? Was I supposed to do that? Because they got a new person in the job, right? So this, if they're already in the bylaw, the way I see it, they're in the blanket bylaw, then if that happens like 2 weeks before or whatever, they can run around, get all the stuff they need and get it in. And we may not have a council meeting, so if they had to go through a whole bylaw, then they might not get it in time.
Right.
And that was getting close in a couple times, in which you don't want to lose an event just because we have a rule, right? But
Right.
we have to have the rule.
Yeah, they'll still, even if they're in the blanket bylaw, they will still have to fill out the application,
Yep.
and they will still have to provide the proof of insurance,
Yeah.
and they will still have to contact the emergency personnel.
Yep.
But we won't have to have a council meeting to approve it. They'll already be approved.
That's correct.
It just takes a bit of risk out of it.
Yep. No, it's a good idea.
I like it.
It's a good idea.
And it was sort of brought about because we had a pretty close call, that nobody thought about it till the last minute, oops. And then we just happened to lucky and had a meeting that we could get the bylaw done.
So if council doesn't have any further revisions that they'd like to see to this, then I will update the special events policy and bring back a blanket bylaw to council.
Perfect. So, recommendation?
Sure.
Councilor Anderson, Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peg.
Thanks, Peg.
And, okay, Bill, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. It's my pleasure to present the detailed site plan for the Clifford Ballfield Field of Dreams Townhouse development. We are well on our way to closing this transaction. Mr. Schwinn has been out of country for a few weeks here. We had endeavored to do it before Christmas, but things got backed up a little bit. We will be closing, I believe, the 23rd, which is what, this Friday? And just a reminder in the report of how the purchase works for these lands. Total purchase price was $180,000 plus $60,000 towards servicing. That's basically 50-50 between the town and the developer for the services. So the first phase is for the servicing on Brown Street, which if you're looking at the site plan in front of you is on the right-hand side. And then the balance of the purchase price, $80,000 plus $30,000 in servicing is for William Street, which if you're looking at the site plan is on the left-hand side. So just to go through the plan quickly, the total plan is 14 single-story townhouse units with a basement. They have about 1,200 square feet and they're 2-bedroom units with the bath. There's 7 on Brown and 7 on William Street. In between, there is a stormwater pond and park, which is labeled in the middle of the 2 units, so essentially directly in between, and that land will be retained by the town. And it's about a half an acre in size. That was the condition of our agreement of purchase and sale, that there would be approximately a half an acre in parkland left. So it's about 70 feet wide and 300 feet long. If you look at on the right-hand side, you can see there's a hatched trail that kind of comes off Brown Street and then goes kind of curves across the property down that whole length of land and then back out to William Street. That link will actually link up to the entrance into the John Holbelman or the Rotary Park property, so there's actually a trail link into there. So it's excellent that we've got walkable communities here accounted for. So within that green space, the developer will not only build the pond, bring the land up to grass with topsoil or seed, he'll also build a stone dust walkway in there for us. So we'll maintain that walkway, but it will be there for the public to go around through the development, which is, I think, good for from a walkable community perspective. The stormwater pond has the catch basins in there. By catch basins, that's surface water will flow into those where needed and out to the streets. Now, this pond will be dry except when there's a heavy storm.
Right.
So it will fill up towards the bottom of the page here. Yes, off away from the arena side. So the deepest part of it, which is about a meter, is on the south side of this property, which is on the bottom of the page. So the pond is kind of shallow, it gets a little bit deeper, but the slopes are gentle, so you don't have to fence this pond either unless we wish to do that.
Excellent. Right field.
We're proposing to sole source this work just because the developer has committed to a contractor for the on-site work, and it is a contractor that we're used to dealing with on the street work. So we're going to jointly do that. Now we'll have make sure our prices are good, but both of us have an incentive because we're sharing in it, so we're going to drive the price down that way. There is a retaining wall along the south side of the building, or the park lot, the parkland, and that is to prevent drainage from going onto the abutting lands. You may recall, we did have those two neighbors to one of our meetings, and they have addressed that concern that they were getting water off the old ball field. This will prevent that from happening. Just a note on the two sidewalks, there are sidewalks on both sides. Unfortunately, at this point in time, they don't have any other sidewalks to link up to there. So we've shown them in there. Whether we build those, that will be an issue. Whether it fits in the 60,000 servicing or not, we will determine that. But at the very least, we'll have a stone dust walkway through the park. There are fire hydrants to go in. We have to get into the detailed servicing on the street, but generally it's been designed by BM Ross, and they're very thorough as far as their design work goes. So overall, we've been through this a couple of times with Public Works, Building, the Clerk's Department, and the engineer and the developer, and we're all in agreement that this plan is one that we can recommend to you, and that we're suggesting you approve it, subject to it being completed within 2 years. Just a final word about tree planting. He did, in the agreement of purchase and sale, commit to replanting 2 trees for every one he takes down. If you look at the gray areas, those are double driveways. If you know the property at all, there's trees, mature trees along there, but some of them are in bad shape. So I wouldn't want to promise you that those big trees are going to remain in there, just because by the time you dig for services and driveways, we'd be better off with replacement trees that are in good quality, and that plan for replacing those trees will come back to you, that you can see it.
Good. So moved.
Questions? Mary Lou?
Just on the trees, because that was one of the questions I was asked when I was campaigning. If they are replaced, would they be replaced by trees or trees?
We're thinking that some of them will go on the park in the back, and some may go in the street. We'll see. But we were thinking of going to the county to see what kind of trees maybe we ought to put there. But we're not going to look for. I think we'll look for substantive trees.
We usually, and if I'm,
2 to 3
Brian,
years.
you might answer this, but we get some bigger trees when we do replacements from Maitland Valley, do we not?
Survive.
Half decent size, like they're 15-footers, and you know they'll,
okay.
yeah, not little things that'll be,
Okay.
yeah. No, I know they would go on, but I know when you do take a town tree out and you bring back a tree for the person who wants a tree on their property, they're usually 15-footer, yeah. So they're not going to just get nipped off with the lawnmower the first time. Like I might do, but yeah, saplings, yeah, and they go fast. Except the beavers get them. I lost my last one to a beaver. Yeah. Yeah.
Seem to make beavers.
No, that's out in my area. It should be all right in Clifford.
Those trees gotta go, they're almost as old as the deputy mayor, so.
You're older.
So true.
What's the old rule on the golf course? If the tree's not older than you, you don't have to hit around it.
That's a lateral hazard.
Anyways, all right. I think it's a great plan.
Yeah,
Like it.
looks like-
Motion
I like
to
it.
receive?
Sure.
Recommendation, Deputy Mayor Faulkner and Councillor Turton, all in favor? Great, let's get them built.
Yeah.
He's gonna build 3 in spring, it's great. All right. And I'll turn it over to Councillor Caldwell to chair the next portion here.
Okay, and the Finance Committee only has one item on the agenda.
I know, one item.
Good.
That's the approval of accounts, and they look
I'm in a
pretty
hurry.
moderate this period as well, so I'll turn it over to our Treasurer Duff.
Thanks, Chair Caldwell. Yeah, I think this is one of the smallest ones we've had in the last couple of months.
It's time.
Just wait for next one. Anyway, some of the highlights, she had an after tile drain loan.
I've got one here.
Worked with her engineers. The Mystery Soccer program. Fire, I guess they had some 12 new tasers for about $7,000. And they bought some of the confined space equipment that we were talking about on that contract. For $14,660. We did drain clean out for about $9,000. And Public Works for hydro bills are 33, so not too many unusual ones on this one.
Our building inspector left. I want to congratulate him on a $6.85 building.
Hey, where is he?
That was a refund.
This is stay for us, right?
Let's continue. Does anyone have any questions on the report? Yes, Councillor Dixon.
Thank you. Did you say water meters?
Yeah.
I thought we had that done. Are we still?
Oh, we're still buying, them, yeah, we're still paying the contract, we haven't paid the final.
Oh, I see, okay.
But they're all
Okay,
in.
but they are in, and
Yeah, I'm gonna say 99%.
99, yeah,
There's
sure.
a couple ones.
There's still two that, are compound meters or complex meters, and the odd one, I think the guys would go and actually door to door just to check the readings, but sometimes it's an odd house, or especially in new construction, they have this, so that when they're not protecting them.
So no holdouts.
Yeah, not too bad, no, I don't think we have any hard refusals, that thing, no.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. If there's no other questions, then the recommendation is...
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was ready,
Mayor
recommend, I was
Briggs?
just recommending.
Oh, you're
Moving along,
recommending.
yep.
Okay, the Council of the Town of
Better
Minto
get his name in
receives
there.
the Treasurer's Report dated January 12th, 2015, regarding approval of accounts, and approves the Town of Minto accounts by department for January 2015. Moved by Mayor Bridge, seconded by Councillor Dirksen. All in favor?
I know, but
And it's passed.
Deputy Mayor wants to get going, so that's. Trying to push him
There you
along.
go.
And I'll turn it over to Councilor Turton.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. This evening, we have 2 items on the Public Works agenda. I'd like to welcome our
Darrell?
Daryl Bueller, our Compliance Coordinator, and our Director, Brian.
I'm just here for support.
Your support. And Daryl, do you want to go ahead with your report first, please?
Yeah, sure. Is this microphone on?
Oh, I think the button, yeah, hang on.
You're used to being on stage.
Hello.
There you are.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
you're good now, there.
Okay, first of all, this is my first report to the new council.
Yep.
I just want to say congratulations to all of you on your terms, to Judy and Jean for your Judy, your return, and Jean, your new term. Yeah. So, very good. I'm going to start out with an apology due to the timing of this report. First of all, this name DWQMS, I think most of you understand what that is, but for the new people, maybe they don't. It's Drinking Water Quality Management System. As part of our management system, we have wrote in that annually there's a management review done, and a report is to be taken to council, the council meeting following that review. So that's why I'm giving this report now instead of explaining what DWQMS is. My intentions are for next meeting to come with a explanation of DWQMS just as a review and training for those that don't know. So you've all been supplied with this report. We met back in November. The DW or the QMS team met for this report. Councillor Turton is a representative of council on this team, so he was present for this meeting. Because you have had your report in front of you to review prior to this, I'm not going to go through each heading. I'm going to highlight a few, and then if there's any questions after I highlight the few that I've picked out, I'd be happy to try and answer any questions then. First of all, I'll start out with saying this is important. You as council are the owners of our Minto water system. It's very important that you are made aware of what our water system, how it's operating, and that's all part of this procedure that I'm presenting tonight. Water meter installation program, Judy, you were asking about that. Pretty well all meters are installed now. There is a few meters to be installed by private contractors yet. And I think early spring, we hope to be starting the billing process on consumption. Where right now, we're doing the drive-bys, ensuring that the meters are reading properly, and I think Watson's is involved in getting a rate study done. Once that's in place, then the customers will be charged according to consumption. One thing that's really interesting, provincially, on average, before meters were put into place, the average use per day per person is 464 liters, and after meter installation is 263. So wow. It really reduces it. People start to think about how they're using their water.
No, I know. They're all down already, Daryl, and they haven't even built them yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now,
a lot of that's, you're picking up leaks too, aren't you?
A certain amount. A lot of it is just provincial education.
Yeah.
People, school children are going to school and learning about how to save
Yeah.
water, and it's starting to reflect in the whole system. I don't know if I'm in a position to suggest this, but over time, as water consumption goes down, our costs are going to remain the same, so that's going to affect some
Delivery,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
somewhere
an
down the
offset.
road.
But,
yeah.
But I guess really the good news is we kind of think we have all kinds of water, but we don't.
That's right.
Like, you know, the drinkable water. So it's good that we're doing this to save.
That's right.
What page are you on, Daryl?
I'm flipping through. I'm going to page 6 now.
Okay.
Water main breaks. It's interesting that I bring this to light after our Sunday water main break. We haven't had too many breaks over in 2014. As you can see, Clifford had one, Palmerston had one, and now in 2015, Harrison has had one.
Your turn.
It's I think a reflection of the condition, the system. We're getting the system into better shape all the time. Clifford especially, with the major project we've been doing there with water main replacement over the years. Now, just to highlight this past Sunday, we had a break. At first, we thought maybe we could get away with not repairing it till Monday. But because of the weather conditions and the low traffic flow, because it was on the main Elora Street, it was decided to do the repair on Sunday. And it went off pretty much without a hitch. There was a few glitches. We had a debriefing session after the repair on Monday, identified some of the areas that we should look at, so that things like valves not holding, and there was one valve that actually broke when we went to shut it. So things like that, we're gonna make sure we're on top of our game to make sure that we do maintenance a little more diligent on. Right now, our valves are on a schedule of every 4 years being exercised, and any valves that are issues are identified when they get exercised. I'll put a little plug in here for the vacuum trailer that we are hoping to get through our capital budget this year. The vacuum trailer has a valve turner on it, and also a GPS unit which identifies the valves as you go to them. This piece of equipment would be very valuable to our operators in this department. And a lot of valves that are stiff, if they're worked up and down enough times, a lot of them will free themselves up. And would so anyway.
We heard you, Daryl.
Okay, thank you. There was some mention, there's been a question, have any changes occurred to MOE requirements, regulations in the last little bit, in the last year? The only one that is, it's in final draft form right now, is AWWA Standard C651, which speaks to water main disinfection. It's just going into a little more detail as to ensuring certain aspects of a water main repair installation are done. A new portion of this standard is the breaks will need to be identified by the operator in charge, the person on site who's in charge, whether it's a category 1 or a category 2 break. If it's a category 1, which is basically a ring crack around a cast iron water main where water is leaking out but it's under pressure, so there's very little chance of contamination, that's considered a category 1 break. Where a category 2 break would be a pipe failure, where you have to actually cut a section of pipe out, shut the main down, and dewater the pipe. That would be a category 2. Those need to be identified in documentation records for the break. The health unit in the past, what I'll call a category 2 break, we do notify them, but the health unit is being, the health unit is asking that they be notified. They must be notified of a category 2 in the event that contamination occurs in the system and illnesses start to show up. They know a possible cause. I spoke with our health unit representative, and she's still in the process of hearing from her superiors whether they want to be notified of category 1 breaks. So they're working at it, but they haven't determined that yet. Frozen water line issues. Last year, 2014, we had a lot of frozen water lines. We're crossing our fingers, and so far this year, we haven't had any that are town issues. There was 37 frozen water lines last year, and the water department and public works department was quite diligent in getting people supplied water within the day that their line froze, which is kind of going the second mile. Some municipalities, people had to wait up to a week before they got water. So in the other nice thing about small communities, Minto, neighbors helping neighbors, we never ran into any issues where a neighbor didn't want to help out their next door neighbor by supplying water from their home. So
Darrell, on that, I mean, I've had a few people ask me with the water meters, especially people that are, they constantly have to let their water run, right, and to save that. I've just sort of said to them in general, we'll have sort of an idea of what their water usage was, and we won't penalize them to run. We don't want to break, so we'd not penalize them. So
that's right.
We'll come up with some kind of formula, right?
It'll go to average billing. Yeah. Whatever their average consumption has been is what they would be billed out at for that time
That's
period.
Sort of what I've said. Yeah. So if you get those questions, I'm sure you get them. That's sort of how we're going to address that, because we don't want them not to worry about, well, we're trying to save water and then have their lines all freeze up.
Right. We're going to be sending a notice out to the homeowners, to the water customers, that if the frost level gets to a point where we feel it's a threat of freezing water lines, the homeowners, we have a fairly good history of the homes that freeze, so they will be notified to start their water. Once they are notified, then they will be automatically be switched to average billing.
Okay.
Where somebody else decides to turn water on their own, and we haven't asked them to, they would have to pay their meter rate then.
Do we have, I'm sorry, I'm being new to this. Is there a certain area in town that there's a known problem, or there's a problem with a line, or what's the? I'm just thinking here, it's scattered throughout. There is, that's an issue that we're dealing with. We don't know whether
it's a service line issue, the depth of service line, or if it's water main. Last winter, the gut feeling amongst Ontario municipalities was that the issue started out at the road because of the frost being driven down because of traffic. Now, there is a few homes that have shallow water lines from the service valve where we stop our responsibility in, and at some point we maybe will be looking at those, digging down to find out the depth and then advise them that they should maybe lower their lines.
Yeah.
So
There must be standards when you're building a house, or are these pre-existing lines, or?
well, 4 feet is usually what is used around here. I'm not sure if that's in a book somewhere or if that's
That's being changed now. We're going 6 feet deep on our mains. On all new mains now, we're going deeper. It's just that sometimes it's heavier frost than other times, and so you be on the safe side, we're going a little bit deeper on the mains.
Yeah, because I had wondered that myself. Somebody said water running all the time because their pipes freeze, and I thought, oh, well, that'll be.
yeah, that's how we hope to handle that issue. Moving on, accreditation. In November, we had our external audit performed by SAI Global, which is a auditing company that the government has given approval for. And that's who we're doing business with. There is another firm out there that we had the choice, but in doing our homework, we chose them. The external audit was completed, and to make a long story short, we were granted our accreditation was renewed for another 3 years. So MOE inspection ratings, I'm always happy to discuss this one.
Yeah, especially when 100%. Can you get 110? Are you allowed that, or is it like bonus marks?
Well, this year, all 4 systems scored 100%
That's awesome. Yeah.
out of 100.
That's
so
awesome.
we're
Pretty nice.
As operators, we're very pleased about that. Overall, in the whole province, the scoring is actually quite high everywhere. Everybody's kind of got their systems up to where they should be now. There still might be a few running in the high 70s, low 80s, but most are running around 100% now. So with those ratings, our customers can be assured they're being supplied quality, safe water. So again, thanks to Brian and to Dave and to all the council for approving our budgets that we can continue to provide these good ratings, because it's quite an extensive inspection that the MOE does, and your equipment and everything have to be up to standard in order to achieve these values. So we have one water tower inspection coming in 2015. That's the Palmerston one. It's going to be a drained inspection. So the tower will be offline for about a week. We're looking at either the first or second week in May. Landmark is the firm that does the work on all our towers. We're doing a drained inspection. Their last inspection was done by a remote submarine, and it had identified some paint blisters in the top section of the water tower tank. So this time when the tank is drained, they're going to touch up those sections and hopefully make the tank good for another number of years.
Daryl, if you're doing that, does it affect our water pressure, or is anybody out of water?
Nobody will be out of water. That's one thing we can't allow is
Right.
negative pressure in the system.
Right.
What we do is we keep the system charged with the well pumps running 24 hours a day.
That's how you do it, okay.
We have pressure relief valves that once the system reaches a certain pressure, they blow off to a drainage ditch somewhere. So that's how we achieve that. The community is notified what's occurring, and they're asked to conserve water.
And the fire department knows, and
Yeah.
they prepare themselves, okay.
The blistering occurs from ice buildup in the wintertime. So that ice moves around and scrapes, and So it's a common occurrence within storage facilities. So that's, communication, this next, on page 10 here, communication to operators. I'm gonna take it one step further. Part of my external audit was that I was a little bit shy on communicating with you as council, the owners, on what's happening in the system. So I'm gonna try and up my game and maybe give a few presentations and emails to you just to keep you kind of on the tip of what's happening in the system. And it's definitely a good idea. If I was the owner of something, I'd want to know too.
Don't take it all on yourself, Daryl. I think likely, possibly, we maybe should have been asking more questions. I mean, if that was one of the only slights, it was a good report.
Yeah, and yes, communication is a two-way street. Us going up and you coming down, just per se. So,
but I think you always, if there was a problem with the system, we always got communicated to that. I mean, I felt comfortable that way, but Bill.
So I think Daryl was going to organize a tour.
Yeah,
Maybe
that'd be
he's gonna
great.
mention that later.
yeah, I'm going to mention that. Yeah,
I've been to a couple wells.
Yeah.
It's Dave Turton's
Steal
fault
your
who's
thunder.
in charge of it.
Yeah, I'm willing to.
Are you
take
taking the blame, Dave?
Yep. We'll do better. I mean,
Okay, well,
that's-
being tours have been mentioned, I'll take the advantage of that right now. If there's interest, I think some of yous have had tours
Yeah,
of
I've had a
a
few
well
places,
house
yeah.
already.
Yep.
I'd be interested in setting up a time to take you as council, as owners, and also any other staff in the town, and if we felt interest was even in the community, we could arrange some sort of a time to do some tours and explain where your water comes from. But I would like to start out with inviting you folks to do a tour, to have a tour. If there is interest, I'm open to suggestions how to head it up. Could people contact Bill, and then Bill I can set it up through Bill then? Would that be a good way to do it?
You can do that. And then, as far as the public goes, could have a certain Saturday or whatever and have a few of the wells open house.
Yeah,
People can just drop by and
Yeah.
give information about it.
Yeah. I know as operators, we're always happy to, because we take pride in in where the water comes from, and the more people that'll listen to us makes us happy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it also then, people would understand when I get this comment about, we got trucks running here and there and everywhere, and I say, well, yeah, because they're doing water testing every day.
Yeah.
And that would maybe get out to the public
Right.
that's why so somebody said, why do you have so many trucks? I said, well, it's pretty hard for them to walk to every well.
That's right.
So, that is a bit of a.
We did think of a
misconception.
bicycle with a cart behind it.
Yeah, but it's a little tough. Anyways.
So, but no, we'd be happy to share the wells. A lot of people they don't realize even how many wells are in each community.
Exactly.
So opportunity to explain all that would certainly likely help in the big picture of things.
Yep, oh, good, it's a good idea.
So I will leave that, if I may, with Bill, and we'll, to start out with you folks.
And give them out water. A glass of water for the well.
Making me thirsty.
I guess I pretty well have covered this report. I'd like just to make mention, I think most of you have all taken in the standard of care training session Water and Clean Water has put on. Now, Gene, probably haven't.
Gene wouldn't have had, Judy, did you do it when your term?
I think so.
But there is opportunity, Water and Clean Water and some of the other municipalities that are holding training sessions. It's an excellent opportunity to find out what your responsibilities are as counselors, what liability is in your position, and personally, I'd highly recommend that you take the training. Again, I think Bill has the course dates that they're being offered, so it'd be contact Bill.
Actually, you know, if you do it up in Walker, it's a great facility to
Yeah.
go up and see, even see that. I mean,
Right.
that's a training facility for Ontario.
Yeah.
And for the new people, they realize that if we mess up really badly, we go to jail. I mentioned that to a few people out there. So it is important that you know what your responsibilities are, because not knowing them doesn't get you out of it.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
we're basically all going to go to jail if we do it wrong. So
Well,
I hate to bring that up, but
hopefully there's a get out of jail card
Yeah.
or something, but.
Thanks for the
But
encouragement.
there is that.
That's not,
So, before I open it to questions, I think, Peg, is there a sheet to sign?
It's already around.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and
Okay.
it's almost done, I believe. Has
Excellent.
everybody signed it?
Okay, okay, that's
Yep.
excellent. Thank
Sarah, would you mind taking just 30 seconds to explain that on-warn to Judy and
Certainly.
Yeah.
please?
I could do it here, or I could do it just with the two of them.
Yeah.
Just to
It's-
save
it's-
time
it's a
for
pretty-
you. Basically, on-warn is an agreement we have signed with the on-warn organization. It's province-wide, it's down into the states and everywhere. What it is if we have an emergency and need equipment, manpower, help of any sort, expertise, all it is one call. Bridget Roth in Guelph, the city of Guelph, is our contact person. Brian would make a call. It's set up that Brian is our spokesperson. He would make a call to Bridget, and Bridget would start the ball rolling, and it would be organized through the on-warn organization, and help would be offered. And likewise, if somebody else needs help and we're able and capable, we would offer our services too. It's a little bit like a mutual aid, but I'm very pleased that we have became members. Most municipalities in the Wellington County have become members now, so that's very brief. If you want to know more about it, I can give you a whole presentation on it.
Any other question? I think it's free, right?
Yes, no cost.
What, the presentation?
That too, that too.
We
Well,
pay for that.
Councillor Caldwell, questions?
Yes, I was impressed of the few number of complaints that you've had in water, but I just wondered what type of complaints you do receive.
The majority of the complaints are discolored water, or smelly water, and oftentimes it's, we go on site and do a quick check, and oftentimes it's a house issue. It used to be a strong smell of chlorine, and in the last 2 years, I don't think we've had one complaint in that line yet. So we're conscious of keeping the amount of chlorine we're putting into the system at a minimum. At the same time, we need to put maybe a little extra if there's a run of water line to a dead end that doesn't have a lot of water circulation. We have to be able to hold a certain residual at those dead ends. But yeah, water bills.
Water bills, water meters. Meters was
Yeah,
one I noticed
yeah,
you pointed out.
yeah,
Meters.
yeah.
Just the
Other questions? Councillor Elliott?
First of all, Darrell, I want to thank you for being a dedicated employee like you are and your staff. Man, we're lucky to have people like you that bring this. You say you fail and bring your information, but I've never ever felt that I wasn't communicated with what you do, and I do appreciate it. And you appreciate the position we're in. We're the people who have to receive this, and again, I thank you for that. One of the questions I have, we were talking about paperwork within the government and such like, and since Walkerton, have you found that you get onerous in paperwork, like you have to triple everything and double everything, or?
yes, but it's become just the way, it's an accepted way of life now.
Is it getting worse every year, or is it
No, it's kind of leveled out now.
leveled?
Yeah, yeah. When you talk paperwork, I guess that can be in the form of electronic paper or actual paper. I'm from the old school, so I'm a little bit guilty of using a few more trees than what a younger person would, but I think there.
Could we get the job done with less red tape, is what I'm saying?
With
And
less
could you,
what?
could you satisfy the needs of the people and get our job done with less red tape?
No,
So we need that red tape.
that's right.
In this case, we do.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We
Councillor
have a
Dirksen.
regulation to follow, and
Right.
there's no way of dodging it.
Sorry, Councillor Dirksen.
Yeah, I just had a question. I found it interesting that Harriston, even though there are less customers there, that the water consumption is higher. Is that because of the industry?
Farm Fresh uses a fair bit of
Yeah.
water, yeah. They use, just off the top of my head, around 350 cubic meters a day.
I think it says someplace, does it say someplace in here? I read it somewhere,
Yeah,
I thought. Okay, I was just
yeah.
wondering if
That would be one
Harristonians
reason.
were more wasteful, or,
Oh,
but it's
there's-
because, but it's because, it is because of the makeup of the water users that
Yes,
you're
yeah.
thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know, not sure when the right time to say this is, but I love the idea of of having the doors open to the water plants, and I think it'd be a great idea if we had doors open to lots of other things in the municipality as well. I don't know whether you could pull those all off in the same day, or whether you do a series of a few Saturdays or something, but anyways, I just think it's a great idea to educate people and let them know what's going on. I've often said everybody should sit for 1 year on council, just to learn some of these things, so.
Other questions? No other questions? So,
I'm just gonna make one other comment, because I'm passionate about educating our youth, and there is such an opportunity for young people in the water industry. And an open house, parents brought their young people to spark an interest. I have done a few presentations for Norwell in smaller groups, trying to spark the interest, because there are future water operators. So, yeah, I really do.
That's a good idea,
Yeah.
Actually, on that, Darrell, the county is working with Norwell to do a careers day, so make sure we get involved in that, because I think you're right. I mean, if you want to make a good career for right now, being a water operator is a good career.
It's excellent, yes.
And because I believe our age of water, like we've got a kind of a bubble at the top that are going to be retiring, right?
That's right.
And we need to get those, and it takes time.
Yeah.
So you just don't write a test and you're there.
Minto is actually, we're doing not too bad with.
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape.
With young operators that are coming up, so, but
Yeah.
there's that wonderful opportunity there.
So, I think, Belinda, are you involved in that?
Yes, I just sent the board, so are we.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, make sure, because
Yeah.
if we can get more people thinking of trades, the younger people, like all trades, we need them.
Yeah.
And let's try to get that out there. I totally agree.
Is there any,
Councillor
oh,
Dirksen.
sorry, is there any opportunity for the co-op program through Norwell or another high school?
Possibly. I mean, that's
I
something.
don't know
you
whether it's
could
something
like-
we've ever looked at, but
We did.
Go ahead, Mayor Bridge.
Didn't we have a co-op student last year?
Yeah, we did. We had a student that we share with the rec department.
Right.
okay,
And,
good,
yeah, we bringing them in.
that's
I
good.
think the first year we brought one in, they helped you paint some hydrants and the
Well house.
well house,
Yeah.
painted inside well houses and stuff. So, yeah, we use them.
I'm not sure which college it was, but actually one of our operators today, it was through his college course, they requested a co-op placement with us, and that's how we got to know him, and he's ended up with employment in the town. So
Right,
it's-
that's,
yeah.
I think Tyson Smith is the co-op
Yes.
placement person. Yeah, so. Any other questions? I think everybody has read that quick article there on the bottom of page 11. And very disappointed that Daryl didn't bring that up, but Daryl is planning retirement a year from now.
Yes,
And
I-
we have a great succession plan, thanks to Daryl and Brian bringing some of these young guys along. And I mean, I'm sure this next year is going to go by very quickly, Daryl. Just like the last, has it been 7? When did we start this, Gord? Daryl, who's got the best memory? Yeah. So this just didn't start this year. It's been ongoing, and I know that when Daryl was chosen to lead us in reference to this DWQMS, it was a great choice, Daryl.
Well, thank you. It's been a wonderful challenge. Some days a bigger challenge than others, but it's been good, yeah.
So, yes, go ahead.
Chair, we do have a resolution that the mayor will be reading later, and then I have the sign sheet, and then
Yes.
recommendations.
Yep. So our recommendation from this report is that the Council of the Town of Minto receives the Compliance Coordinator's December 11th, 2014 report regarding DWQMS Management Review, and all the members of Council review, approve, and endorse the report. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Elliott, Councillor Dirksen. All in favor of this recommendation? Against? That's carried. So Daryl, take it back to your guys and girls. Let them know that we do appreciate you guys. I know how many years ago was it that Mrs. Dombrowski said that every person in Ontario will have clean water? Well, we have it in Minto, so.
Yeah, that's right.
So thanks a lot.
I will do that, thank you.
Thanks, Daryl.
So the second item, Daryl, you can stay, sit down.
Wants to go?
Enjoying the back chairs here.
I supported you.
The limelight here. So the second item is our municipal drain petition and improvement. So Brian, please proceed.
Okay, I'm gonna wing this. If I miss something, maybe Bill can help me fill in. As you all know, the Maitland River is a primary outlet for many of our municipal drains, not only in our area, but also in North Wellington. It affects thousands of acres, and when I'm talking thousands, 27,725 approximate acres. 9,500 acres of this is in Wellington North. So most recently, over the past number of years, staff and consulting engineers have been investigating the North Ward Drain, along with the municipal drain number 11, which is located west of Harriston. There's other drains involved that have just come up, two other, Drain 3, and I think the other one is Drain 12. Plus, if town goes ahead with the Harriston Industrial Park, they'll be looking for an outlet also for storm water retention in that area. The County of Wellington has proposed rehabilitation work on the two bridges on 87 Highway, west of Harriston here. And if you look at the attached map, it shows you the municipal drain 11 in orange, the industrial park drainage in yellow, and North Ward drain in purple, as well as a balance of contributing lands in the Maitland watershed in blue. So there's been a little investigation work done at this point, but staff got together with the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority, Triton Engineering, Dietrich Engineering in last November. We sort of all got together and had a lot of powwow to find out how we can approach solving these issues with the flooding and rainfall when we get an excessive amount of it. As you recall, in December, Council approved $21,000 to support the Conservation Authority. Their work plan to increase the stream modeling, rainfall collection information, and trying to figure out the exact flows of this. It's a very crucial design criteria used to produce the Harriston floodplain maps. Now, to start the process, Dietrich Engineering suggests that a petition for drainage works is under Section 4, and a notice of request for drain improvement, Section 70, be submitted by the Roads Authority to the Town of Minto CAO clerk. Section, and now I'm not going to get into all that sections of this and that in the Drainage Act, but it is proposed that Dietrich provide a report to council under Section 4 outlining the improvements needed to address the concerns in the municipal drain 11 is a potential project may have a wide range of impacts. Dietrich proposes to have an initial meeting with the landowners in the watershed area, the entire watershed area, to ensure all potential improvements are identified and considered by the engineer. When we do have this public hearing, it'd be suggested that Wellington North and County Wellington be invited to the meeting also. The cost of this report, as you see under financial considerations, is around the $20,000 range. So if the petition does not proceed, the town will be required to cover the cost of the report. So if you have any questions, keep them simple, because I'm not great
Yeah.
up on my
Questions for Brian? Deputy Mayor Faulkner.
Brian, when, did they give an estimate on what time of year they might have this public meeting?
No, that hasn't been decided. To my knowledge, it hasn't been decided yet. And you owe me $2 because you said that you wouldn't have any questions.
I owe you $2.
No,
You
Dave.
owe him $2.
Okay, so that's $2 I owe you, $2 you won't get, so that's $4 you owe me. Any other questions?
Will there, Brian, you
Elliott.
know, will there be any private owners that will be asked to put drains in?
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of private drains outletting into the Maitland.
So this will all be part of this report?
Yes. The whole entire area that you see on your map there,
That's big.
it's huge.
Yes, I see that.
I have land.
Like when
Other
you say
questions?
thousands, that's 20, what did I say, 27?
27,000 acres, 9,500 in Wellington.
That's gonna take,
Wellington North alone has quite a bit, so
Yeah.
somebody's gonna be busy.
definitely.
Mayor Bridge.
Well, and all I say is that when we had that meeting, it makes common sense if we're going to, we're working on our floodplain, and if we're going to have drainage issues as well, we might as well put them all in one basket, because it makes a big difference if we think we got something fixed and somebody wants to do a municipal drain and we pours a whole bunch more water in.
Yep.
We might as well, and that's why I think it's a good plan. We've got Maitland, we've got Dietrich, we got
Dietrich.
Triton. We got them all at the
Everybody's
table,
together.
we got our guys at the table, and we start getting some of the other players at the table. This is a big project, it's not gonna happen overnight, but it certainly makes sense to work together on this and create a good solution in the
And
end.
it's gonna help with your mapping.
Yeah.
Floodplain
And
mapping.
I think it's a good
time.
investment of $20,000, and as you say, if it goes forward, that's spread out to all the other people, so.
Correct, yep,
It's only if it doesn't go.
yep.
Just,
Councillor Elliott.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
But the reason I was asking about private drains is each one of the private owners are going to have to pay for this municipal drain on their property, and quite often they take loans from the community in question. So if we have a lot of private owners bringing loans from our community, how's it gonna work with our treasurer? Maybe can.
Bill.
Bert's gonna tell.
Go ahead.
The
Treasurer
one difference, Councillor Elliott, is most of those lanes are tile drain loans. This
Yeah.
is a municipal drain.
It's totally different.
So you won't be like the province stepping in as an agent. There are some provincial grants possibly, but it's not like the other things where everybody gets their own $30,000 loan and it flows through us. This is a town of Minto asset, and the cost is cost shared on the basis of assessment.
Through each.
Depending on the water
Yeah,
flow
so-
and the drainage there.
So if they haven't got the money to be able to do the drainage, how do they get the money to do it?
In the past, I know we've often, depending on the level, like if it's $1,000, no, but if it's significant, we might be able to look into multi-year, put it on their taxes. There's a cost to that, but we really have to wait for the drainage report and just see if it all comes, but
So what-
eventually,
Town would pay up front, is what I'm trying to say.
the town will likely be the banker and we have to recover. The
And that's-
thing is, it is land, so it is recoverable by
Yeah.
taxes eventually, but.
Eventually. But
Yeah.
Are we going to have an awful lot of money put up in 1 year, for example, if we have a whole bunch of people who need the money to
As the
build?
mayor said, this could be a very big project.
And that's the cost that I was talking about, so it
Yeah.
does cost.
But, through you.
Yeah, go ahead, Mayor Bridge.
But under the Municipal Drain Act, there's no getting around that. I mean, if you've got land and you're providing
true.
water to the drain, you have to pay it. Now, we may have to front it, but
Right.
again, our liability will be back on the taxes. Now, these will be farms and other things.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we're gonna run into the problem where we're gonna have to do a whole bunch of funding,
No,
because they won't wanna add it on the taxes. There'll be a cost to that.
that's right. And normally, the interest rate that we provide is
a lot
not
higher.
a competitive rate,
Yeah,
so if you
yeah.
can possibly do
So,
it. there you
Not
go.
like the drainage loans where I don't think they like to tie up their
Yeah.
personal lines, and that's why I always question at 6% and 7% these
Yeah.
days, why anybody wants a drainage loan. Why
You're
would you go to
paying
the bank?
double the rate, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways.
Cash flow.
CAO White, would you like to add anything? All right, so is there other questions? Hearing none, the recommendation is that the Council of the Town of Minto receives the road foreman's report regarding the municipal drain petition and improvement under Section 4 and Section 78 of the Drainage Act, and appoints Dietrich Engineering Limited to represent the town's interest in this regard. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Anderson, a seconder. Councillor Elliott, all in favor of this recommendation? That's against, carried. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Is there any other questions for Brian? Hearing none, I'll pass the chair back to our mayor. Thank you.
Other business, Mary Lou, you have one?
I just wanted to mention, last time I mentioned about the Chamber of Commerce Annual General Meeting. I wasn't sure the location. It is in Clifford at 7 o'clock on February 2nd. Thank you.
Groundhog Day.
The 2nd or 3rd. The Community Hall in Clifford at 7 p.m.
Okay, good, thank you. Anything else? Sure you can. What?
The mic.
Get the mic. What do you got there?
A couple things.
Oh,
Sorry. They'll be really quick. The Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl-a-thon
Oh, right.
for kids is coming up
When
on
is that again?
February the 8th from 11 till 12. We have 5 people on our team. We're looking for one more person, so we have a team from the town of Minto this year. So I'm hoping that one person will be able to bowl for 1 hour so we can have a team. So that's my first. Secondly, I just wanted to report about our hiring. Right? So we were looking for a business or an economic development assistant, and so I'm happy to report that we have hired somebody that's familiar to everyone, and that is Carissa Downey. So Carissa will be starting next Monday here at the town office, and in the meantime, Caitlin Hall, who has worked for the Chamber previously for many years, is going to come in and fill in at Launchit and the Chamber of Commerce until we hire a new person. And during, as you all know, Carissa is expecting in May, and so Taylor, our summer student, will be back from May till September, and then we're very fortunate to have Grace from the Norgan coming in and working from September until April. So that is our plan of transition for the next a year. So we're
Domino effect.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And then who replaces Grace at the Norgan?
Well,
No, she'll still be able
She
to
can
do
be able to
work.
do
Oh, she'll be able to
Matt
do
and I are
both?
going
Oh,
to
good.
work on
you
being
just
able
gotta
to
keep
have-
Grace out of the economic development chair.
yeah, don't let her in that chair, Mike. Go into the chair. I know. We'll get rid of that chair, we'll put a different chair in.
Mike, you'll be reporting on something else.
So yeah, luckily we're going to have Grace be able to maintain that as well as,
Yeah.
Wonderful.
as doing this. So yeah, so I just thought
Very good.
I'd make you all aware of that because it's happening on Monday. So that's all. Thank you.
All right, oh, here we go. Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Councillor Turton, that the Committee of the Whole convenes into regular council. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Dirksen and second by Councillor Anderson, the Council of Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Okay. This is the long one. Moved by Councilor Turton, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. Whereas the Ministry of Environment Safe Drinking Water Act is regulating a municipal drinking water license program, and whereas the municipal drinking water license program is required of the Justice O'Connor's Part 2 of the Walk-in Inquiry Report, and whereas the certificate of approval which the town of Minto's water system now operate under will be eliminated, and upon accreditation will operate under the municipal drinking water license, and whereas the corporation of the town of Minto developed a drinking water quality management standard for its municipal water systems as first endorsed on May 9th, 2007 by Resolution 193-07. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Minto publicly state their commitment to the drinking water quality management standards, DWQMS, and further, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Minto acknowledges the Town of Minto Compliance Coordinator as a very capable and qualified employee, as in is appointed to the position that will ensure the drinking water quality management DWQMS procedures are followed. There you
Pressure,
go.
eh?
Are you willing to take that position? No. All in favor?
I didn't hear what you said.
I'm not reading it again. Very good.
That's your go to jail ticket.
That's your go to jail ticket, yeah. Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Councillor Elliott, bylaw number 2015-05 to confirm the proceedings of the January 20th, 2015 committee and council meeting be introduced and read first and second and third time, and pass an open council and seal with seal of the corporation. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Anderson and second by Councillor Dirksen that the council of the town of Minto adjourn to meet at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Thank you for a good meeting, everybody.